Why not to do yoga? The guru problem and blind trust. Hi, I'm Troy Cox, founder of Safe Yoga School and the author of The Why of Yoga on Amazon. And this is my part 4 of the series, Why Not to Do Yoga, the Safe Yoga Reality Check. And today we're going to step into a bigger room, so be prepared. Not just the yoga class, not just the teacher at the front of the room, not just safety, but the guru problem, the authority problem. This one's a tough one for me. The blind trust problem. I've been there. This is also the bridge into my next book, The G of Yoga, Gurus Exposed, What to Watch For and Who to Trust. Now, I want to be very clear here, and I want to be very careful. I'm not going to name any names because this is not about gossip. This is not about tearing people down or making anybody look bad. And it is not about pretending that every teacher, guru, studio owner, or spiritual leader is unsafe. It's just about giving us some safety guidelines. And that wouldn't be fair for me to say every spiritual leader is unsafe. But it's also not honest to pretend that spiritual spaces are automatically ethical spaces. They're not. Are they practicing the principle of yoga, non-harming? Yoga language can be very beautiful. It sounds like poetry. Words like love, surrender, devotion, compassion, energy, awakening, and transformation can open something deeper in us. But those same words can be used as weapons and to make people stop asking questions. And that's where things can get dangerous. People have seriously been hurt, lives have been changed, people have been destroyed. Once a person's put on a pedestal, ordinary behavior can start to get excused. A business problem becomes part of the path. A boundary violation becomes a teaching. A teacher's temper becomes fierce compassion. They're so passionate. A student's discomfort can become resistance, or they're a troubled student. And before very long, people are not trusting their own body, not trusting our own inner voice. I must be the problem. They're not trusting their own instincts anymore, and they are trusting a system, the teacher, the room, the reputation. Everybody else is doing it, the mythology, the story built around them. And sometimes they're trusting somebody who has not even earned that level of trust. A recent documentary shows that so clearly. People were following a teacher who had no vetting, who had no background, who had made up everything. And discernment is not disrespect. Asking questions is not betrayal. I know I ask so many questions. My book's The Why of Yoga. Wanting to have ethics and transparency and safety and accountability doesn't mean you're not spiritual or you're a problem. It might mean you're finally paying attention. You're seeing things others aren't admitting. And in chapter 9 of The Why of Yoga, I wrote about the strange contradiction in the modern yoga world. On the surface, it can look peaceful, blissful. Yoga mats and candles and soft voices and sacred words and quotations and flowy clothing and smiling photos and beautiful retreat centers. But underneath that surface, the same human issues can still be there, and they have been for generations and eons. Power. As soon as someone gets money, power, sex, competition, jealousy, backstabbing and control, and branding and avoidance, and deciding not to pay attention to the signs. The desire to be seen as somebody special or enlightened, whatever that means. Yoga doesn't automatically remove those things from people. Sometimes it just gives us more spiritual language to hide behind. And that doesn't mean we throw away yoga or we quit yoga. I'm not trying to get anyone to not do yoga. I'm trying to give us some safety guidelines. And we stop being naive. We stop following people without asking about them. And a real teacher should be able to handle being questioned. A real teacher should be able to explain what they're doing and talk about their trials and tribulations and be honest that they're a human. A real teacher shouldn't need you to be obedient and to follow whatever they say in order for them to feel powerful. A real teacher shouldn't ask you to abandon your family and your friends and your own inner warning system. I have had teachers that I respected, especially one recently that just came to light in 2026, and I've had teachers I questioned. I'm the annoying one, always asking questions, and I've had teachers that I've learned from deeply, and I've seen enough in the yoga world to know that students need to be awake before they hand over their trust to people. I'm not talking about being paranoid or skeptical, but just being aware. Paranoia says everybody is dangerous. That inner voice in you that's discernment is saying, let me look closely before I follow this person. Something's not right. And that's the place I want people to stand in. Clear, grounded in yourself, open hearted, but not open to harm. Because the question is not simply, is this teacher famous? Or does this teacher have a huge following? Or even, do people love this teacher? Because love can be very confusing. Does this teacher have a big list of products to buy? The deeper question is, does this person live what they're preaching? Do they conduct themselves? Do they teach themselves? Is their business and the treatment of others all about the values that they're preaching? And that's a serious question. And students, you're allowed to ask it. You got to ask it. And teachers are allowed to ask it. And studio owners are allowed to ask it. And seekers are allowed to ask it. Because yoga without ethics, without the basic principles of yoga, becomes performance. A lot of teachers can't even tell you what the Yoga Sutras say about the ethics of yoga. Yoga without safety becomes a risk factor. Yoga without accountability becomes performing. And spirituality without discernment or lived life can become manipulation. Look up narcissists and their traits. There's a lot teaching yoga right now. But I believe it needs to be said out loud, as hard as it is. My next book is The G of Yoga, Gurus Exposed, What to Watch Out For and Who to Trust. And it's not being written to destroy anybody's faith in yoga or any particular teachers. It's being written to help people protect their faith in yoga from people who are abusing it, who are ripping off their students, who are stealing from them emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and unfortunately, physically. I still believe in yoga. I still believe in real teaching. I still believe in lineage, heritage, study, practice, humility, and transformation. And I believe in understanding where the teachings are coming from. But I don't believe students should be asked to leave their common sense at the studio door, to blindly follow somebody just because they look good and sound good. Now, in the next video, I'm going to bring home the question that matters the most. Who can you trust? Not perfectly, not blindly, but wisely. Have you had any experiences in yoga where you found out the teacher was someone you couldn't trust? I'd like to know. Let's have a conversation. And remember, do not quit yoga. Quit unsafe yoga. Check out my book, The Why of Yoga, on Amazon, please. Training safe yoga teachers since 2011. I'm Troy Cox. Namaste. Stay safe out there.